For those of you who are not familiar with the process of dieta, when we're on dieta, we are eating very, very, very basic and clean. And so there's no salt, no sugar, no stimulants, no red meat. You're basically just eating fish, rice, limited vegetables, limited fruits. You're not using spices. And so you start to become very aware. I'll speak for myself. I start to become very aware of even just the stimulus behind spices, behind things. Like I remember prior to dieta, I would always have this elixir in the morning, which was filled with like ashwagandha and a 16 mushroom blend. And I would put like lotus and like all of these things in it. And Dieta really showed me, I mean, A, to communicate with the spirit of a plant. The whole principle behind Dieta is that we're reducing the noise. And so Dieta illuminated for me how much noise was still in my life and how much noise I was creating for myself.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think the thing with food is like that's really common for everyone. And, like you were saying, like, there's kind of like the standard ways of eating, there's kind of like the disordered ways of eating, there's like the fitness relationship with
Mm.
eating. And then there's like now this like new age wellness way of eating, and it's like optimizing and like, yeah, like 16 ingredient cocktails. What's the next supplement? What's the next
Yeah.
plant I can add in? And like almost always the answer is actually way less,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost always the answer. I mean, in life, period,
Yeah.
it's less.
Yeah.
Do less. Like
Mm.
that's such a major teaching. Like you said, like even like getting rid of music,
Yeah.
you know? Like that's a hard one
Oh
for
my
me.
gosh.
Like I play music, I listen to music constantly, like turning all that down and just like actually sitting in silence, it's hilarious.
Hmm.
Because the brain just starts going, I'm so bored.
Yeah.
And then like half an hour passes and then all these emotions are arising and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, where did all this come from?" And there's nowhere to diffuse the energy
Hmm.
other than to process,
Yeah.
you know?
Other than to just sit in the fire and actually be with it.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fire and like the process of dieta is no joke.
Mm.
No es broma, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can't mess around. There's no cheating. And that also like just if people are curious, like the whole no cheating of like the restrictions and
Mm.
everything, it also applies to your dreams.
Mhm.
That's the level at which they say you should have control of your
Yeah.
consciousness, you know? And it's like, okay, all day you're like, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
it, I'm not gonna do it, but you want to. And then you like have a dream that night and you're like eating the
Yeah.
chocolate. You're like, no, everyone did.
Test
It's
failed.
such a crazy experience. Yeah, literally.
Level repeat.
Uh-huh. And I feel like, at least for me, like there's been so many times where I felt like I'm doing really good and I'm being really disciplined.
Mhm.
And then like the plants will test me in my dreams knowing I'm gonna fail
Mhm.
just to like keep me humble as fuck.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you gotta stay in that place
Yeah.
of humility, and that place of prayer too.
Mhm.
Because like one of my biggest teachings in my last dieta was the importance of peace
Mm.
in your life.
Mm.
And like you can do the dieta, you can have all the restrictions perfect,
Yeah.
you know, you can do it all perfectly,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing. It's like, and then, but I was taking my excess energy and like working all the time,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and it was like, no, 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 no,
Mhm.
peace, peace is
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah.
way less.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, we've just lost touch with that principle. As you said, even now in like the health industry and spirituality, like there's always we're looking for something more and like biohacking is such a big thing right now too. And it's just biohacking to me is you're not trusting your soul. You're not trusting in the innate wisdom of your body. You're literally trying to hack your own system. And it just goes back to this same collective. I guess you could call it a pain body or a template where we're all just seeking to feel better. We're seeking the answers we want to feel better and to fix. And we're not actually asking what's beneath this thing that I'm trying to fix or remedy with the elixir, with the red light therapy, with the breath work. Like, am I doing these things to come back to presence and peace, or am I doing these things to actually escape and avoid what is actually residing at the very root of that?
Yeah, and like all these things have their place of
Hmm.
experimentation, also
Totally.
to learn like who we are and like the things that do drive us us,
Hmm.
and I always say like no amount of like blue light blocking glasses and reishi and valerian root at night are going to help you sleep if your mind's chaotic.
Exactly.
That's just the truth. So it's like, why is your mind chaotic?
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and then like now we're diving into a deep deep well, deep.
Yeah.
you know it's like all the physical imbalances, the emotional imbalances, the spiritual imbalances. you know like where is your prayer? you
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
how are your relations?
Mhm.
How's your digestion?
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. I'm curious for you, now that you've held multiple dietas, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your first experience on dieta, if you're willing to share, like what was really what was really at the forefront during that first dieta for you? What was the underlying theme that you were invited to really be with?
hmm I mean, my first dieta was like the energy of that spirit of that plan of that teacher
Mm,
really cleans the
mm,
guts
mm,
and sexual
mm,
energy. And it was physical,
hmm,
super physical, And I think I actually mentioned this on one of the podcasts I did with Marcos or something. But like, I mean, the biggest process was like really understanding how to like utilize my sexual energy in the
mhm,
correct ways and allow that thing to flow without it leaking all over the place,
mhm,
And like, as a what I was 23-year-old man who grew up with the internet,
mhm,
there was a big cleansing process that
mhm,
had to take place there. And that was the biggest challenge I was coming up against. But the physical cleaning, it's like it can be pretty extreme,
mhm,
as well. And like I used to get really bad eczema
mhm.
on my legs, and just from like all the toxicity of my upbringing, And after that dieta, all gone. Never again, you know? So like there was some serious work being done there, but there was definitely like sexual energy was the thing I really needed to dial in.
Mhm.
Um, leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just massive acknowledgement, just a deep bow to you for doing that work. I mean, especially as a man, like the sexual programming for men and women is so pervasive, right from we're infants in Disney and then going into social media and then the porn industry and everything. But I mean, I cannot imagine what it is like to be in the shoes of a man in today's world and to be being raised with all of these sexually focused programs and ways that grab at our attention and drive that sexual energy in a way that really pulls it out of the sacred and really attacks divine union and all of the things to have done that work and be doing that work. I mean, just the
I was
biggest,
gonna
deepest
say that's
acknowledgement.
not done.
No, yeah, never ending, I am sure, for all of us. But it's very interesting. Like this seems to be such a topic at the forefront. I've spoken to so many men recently who are just now becoming curious about this aspect of themselves and really noticing how much of their awareness is poured into that sexual drive and how just distorted it has become in today's society and how much that drains their energy on a day-to-day basis.
So much, so much. And like if you're like a man out there listening to this, and you're leaking that energy on a daily, even weekly basis,
Mhm.
like you could be getting so much more out of life, you know? And like you don't even need psilocybin, you don't need ayahuasca, you don't need the plants.
Yeah.
Don't ejaculate for a year and then talk to me. Like you're a different person altogether,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that into the conversation. It's such a powerful piece, and I think, I mean, like I said, I can obviously not speak from the shoes of a man, but it's a conversation that really needs to be had. And I see the work that so many of the men in my field are doing now with this new awareness and starting to call that energy back into themselves. And it is so powerful. And as Matt said, like you are literally not the same person once you start regarding that energy as being so sacred. And again, like you can access that through so many different avenues, but dieta is really just such a potent invitation back into that because I mean that is one of like the biggest no's, one of the biggest ways that you can break your dieta. And so you are just invited to
Mhm,
be in that space of just sitting in that energy and learning how to alchemize it, learning how to turn it into creative output, learning how to turn it into this energetic flow that can be used for so many other things.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And like that's in terms of like collective consciousness is like that one is real twisted up,
Mm,
you know.
mhm,
Like you said, like even being on dieta and like we're taking away all of these things, and it's like not only do you not have sex, you're not meant to think about sex.
mhm,
You know what I mean? And like I'm like living with my partner and we're doing this together and like there's so much respect in the house of like how we be around each other energetically
mhm,
because of the dieta process.
mhm.
And then at the same second I open up my phone and then the Instagram algorithm is like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And it's like, fuck me, it's like you cannot escape it,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, maybe I'll just like throw on some music, and it's like, yeah, and the hoes and the bitches and the this and the that, and it's like it's everywhere.
Yeah, it really is.
God, these young men, we've got fucking problems,
Mm.
serious problems.
Mhm. But to think also just one last piece to kind of like wrap up this portion of the discussion is like exactly that. Like it's everywhere. And in everything that you do, there is always something that is vying for that piece of your awareness. And so when you begin to learn how to control your awareness and how to bring your awareness away from those things that are trying to siphon your attention, that are trying to distort your sexual energy, that are trying to use that energy to control you, to really reap you of your life force. When you begin to call that energy back into yourself, when it is present in almost every aspect of our life, just think of the power of that. It is so immense.
Mhm. It's creation
Mm, mm,
itself. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed the show. If you did enjoy the show, don't forget to like and subscribe below. It really helps a growing channel like this out. And click up here, it'll take you to a collection of the best this podcast has to offer.